Welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host, M&T, with me like always is Noah Bailey. So we've done quite a bit of making fun of DC movies in particular, is particularly the current DCEU movies. They've gotten a little better in the past years with Suicide Squad and other stuff like that. The Suicide Squad. Let me be clear, the Suicide Squad. but like up until a few years ago, DC movies weren't really looking too hot. And we've said over the years, why don't they just let fans make their own movies? We're gonna try it out. About a year ago, we made just our individual Batman stories. He made a whole show. I made just essentially made like a storyboard for a movie.
Was that a year ago?
I think it's over a year. Yeah,
Are you
actually,
serious?
well over it. No, sorry, it might have been like late 2020, but still, it was like.
Still, it's been a while. It's been a
Yeah.
while. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think it was that long.
So I thought it would be fun to kind of continue that and essentially do our best to try to build an entire cinematic universe. So, yeah, neither of us claim to be directors or film majors or anything like that. We just like superheroes and like comics and think that things that are currently being put on screen could be improved by just picking up a comic being like, do this on the big screen.
Yeah.
So we may not have all necessarily the best way to like actually present it, but we just have a lot of ideas. So hopefully our ideas are good. Noah, start.
Okay.
We're gonna at least get through his cinematic universe today. If we have time, I'll do mine, but hopefully all be good. Go for
Okay. All right. Well, without further ado, here we go. Okay. So I started my universe as how you do it because we're going with Batman because Batman. Now you start. That's how. Batman is the character that I had the most to talk about. So I was like, okay, let's get because when you think about it, like I thought about, it, I was like, okay, all the characters. There's like 2, 3 Superman storylines, a couple Flash, or like as far as like I need that to be a movie. With Batman, there's like 12. So like obviously instead of making 12 Batman movies, I was like, okay, let me pick a couple that I think are really important, go from there, and then kind of just figure things out. So that's kind of what I did. So we start with Batman. So this Batman, we're not doing the origin story, first of all, because every other Batman movie has done that. So, or like, who Batman is. Everyone knows Batman's origin story. We know the pearls and the mugger and all that and all that. So we're skipping that. Batman's been Batman, I said, anywhere from 2 to 4 years because it's been long enough that Batman exists, but no one really knows what Batman looks like. It's kind of just an idea. But Gotham's a big city. Well, Batman's not going to show up. Batman shows up. Oh, crap. You know what I mean? So it's like that. So obviously, with Gotham, there's corruption, there's the mob, cops are getting paid off, everything is terrible. So obviously, from different angles, Batman, Lieutenant Gordon, Assistant District Attorney Harvey, they're all trying to do their kind of like in the Dark Knight, where they're kind of like from their different angles, kind of working it, but not as collaborative because obviously they don't trust Batman. He's above the law. Gordon's kind of trying to build up the police force because he doesn't trust politicians. Same thing with Harvey. He doesn't trust the cops because they're paid off by Maroni or the Russian or Falcone or whoever. So it's kind of we're all trying to fight for the same goal, but in different aspects, and we kind of don't even trust each other, which becomes a whole problem because there's murder, there's money laundering, there's all kinds of terrible things going on, charity events getting bombed and things going on. And Batman's like, okay, enough's enough. We're taking this. We're not doing, we're doing this hardcore my way. So Batman kind of just goes out of his way, takes out mob leaders. Not takes them out, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Puts them on people's doorstep, and they can't prosecute them because no one will testify or evidence vanishes from police headquarters and all this stuff. So it's really difficult to the point where Batman's like, I'm not even gonna like, I'm not gonna start with the small fights. I'm going right to the source. He basically goes in, you know, takes out the Russian, like all his men, everybody just standing there. He just basically paralyzes the dude because he's
right.
if you can't walk, then how much trouble can you really cause? And
Mhm.
all this stuff. So obviously the other gang leaders are like, this is a problem because the cops can't touch me, the law can't touch me, but Batman can at any time break into my house and break me in half. So
Mhm.
like that's not great because I'd rather go to prison than get ripped apart by Batman. So
Mhm.
they, some people try to flee the city, some people do this, that, and some people they put a hit on Batman
Mhm.
because somebody can kill. He's just a Halloween costume, right? Somebody can
Right.
kill him. And of course, everyone finds out about it because it's Batman. Who doesn't want to try to kill Batman, especially
Mhm.
early Batman? This is like, for funsies. So a couple people try, you've got the occasional, yeah, I'll get Batman, and then, doesn't even get there. But obviously, we have Slade Wilson
Yeah.
because everyone
Same page.
yeah, we're not even everyone likes like everyone knows this is where this is gonna go. We got Deathstroke, we've got Batman. It's like that. So like Deathstroke does not play games. He does not care. He basically, he doesn't know where Batman is, obviously. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna flush Batman out. So he kills Commissioner Loeb on national TV. Basically, pretty much slits his throat in front of everybody.
So, like, no one liked him anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, like no one, like you didn't care, but you like have to notice. So like Batman obviously is like, well, that's not great. Batman shows up, Deathstroke finds Batman, not Batman finds Deathstroke, and they go at it. Batman actually gets his teeth kicked in a little bit by Deathstroke, and Batman's like, okay, so like I was taught by the best, and I got my teeth kicked in.
Yep.
So we have a problem. So we have to figure out who this Deathstroke guy is, what his deal is, and how I can beat him. So Batman, as Batman does his research, prepares, has recordings of all his fights so he can look at what moves he knows, what movesets he knows. Like, wow, he learned that from boom, 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 this, he probably knows this and that and that. And based on all of that, is able to deduce how Deathstroke fights, finds him, finds his, finds more about actually Slade Wilson and all that stuff. So that leads to this whole confrontation. They have this like huge standoff in the end. And eventually Batman's able to beat him because, of course, he's Batman.
Right.
So they figure that out. Deathstroke gets defeated, and word travels to Nanda Parbat that Deathstroke has been defeated in combat.
Who did you just say?
Nanda Parbat, which is where the League of Assassins takes place.
Okay.
And Deathstroke, who has never failed a mission, ever, has been defeated by this Batman character. But we won't worry about that right now. I'm sure that'll come up later.
Yeah.
So basically, that all goes down. What else happens? Let me see my notes. That goes down. Right. Commissioner Loeb gets killed, so Gordon gets promoted. Harvey Dent gets promoted for putting all the mob because after they killed after Deathstroke goes down, the mob just falls on its face basically. They take them all down. They clean up the city, and that. Oh, and the whole like flying Grayson thing also happens because character development. Dick Grayson gets adopted, obviously, etc. We'll come back to that later.
Okay, so during this movie, he adopts Dick Grayson, but doesn't become Robin yet.
No, he's not right. He's like 10. Like he's a child still. Which not that Robin wasn't a child also, but you know what I mean. I'm not putting a 9-year-old out. I'm not putting a 9-year-old against Deathstroke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're not that crazy. At least Batman isn't yet. He will be. We'll get there. We'll get there. So that happened. So we start with Batman. That's a whole thing because I love Batman and Batman's a lot of it. So then we go
real quick. Are you imagining the cinematic universe being live action or animated?
I mean, either. I was thinking live action, honestly, but it can be either because you and I both know animated movies don't get the respect they deserve.
Yeah.
So
for whatever reason, but like
Yeah.
a cinematic universe would be more likely to be greenlit if it were live action. And plus, just the idea of a live action Deathstroke costume is so cool to me. Like the one that Joe Mang the wears is so good. Like I want to see that fight a Batman. But
mean, he looks so sick. I mean, he looked exactly how Deathstroke would look. Like who like facial hair, everything. Like it was just like,
yep,
yes, that is correct. So yeah, but no, I was thinking live action because one, it's just like because thinking like the DCEU, I feel like you can't really compare anime because again, I think they've already. I mean, with the animated universe they even have, granted, I don't agree with all the choices they made, but I mean, I like that one a lot better than I like the DCEU as it is. So like, you know what I mean? So I feel like that's not really. I guess I feel like animated universe have been established enough with DC because I mean you have that one, you have like the Batman the animated series universe, you have like there are a lot of different iterations of like multiple universe of like a big conglomerate animated wise, but I mean even Super Friends back in like what the 70s was like you know what I mean? So like I feel like live action's the best way to go with it just because one, it looks cool. I mean not looks cooler, but like it's for me, it's always been cooler to see well done live action because it's easier to like see yourself in it.
Right.
If that makes sense. But it just, I don't know, it looks better like artistically to be animated, but I just like live action as far as like making a movie series.
Yeah.
They're movies. Yeah. So that's my first movie. So next we go with kind of a curveball. We go with Flash because
next. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to mix it up. I didn't want to go in like super like obvious order. So I wanted to mix it up a little bit. And also it's kind of like a power scaling build up too, because I don't want to just go from like Batman to like, all right, like Doomsday, you know what I mean? Or something. Not that we're there yet, but I mean, you know what I mean? So you know what I mean? So like so we go with Flash. We have again, we're not really doing the origin stories pretty much for most of the main characters because it feels like, I mean, especially with like the Flash show that just came out, I feel like we kind of get how Barry Allen comes to be.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's kind of, I think it's easier to go like 6 months or a year in for most characters just because like, we know how it is, or it's pretty easy to stay with how they get there. And it's more important just to kind of like, they're not just learning how to use their powers. I feel like that's less interesting for like more main staples. So we go Flash. I'd said I don't know why I said, but I picked 9 months in because I feel like that's just enough time to think you know what you're doing, but not actually. And I think that's a good reference point for Barry Allen because again, he's fastest dude in the world. He thinks he thinks nothing can bother him, nothing can hurt him. He's running this. He hasn't really run into a real super villain per se yet, so he's kind of really, he feels good about himself until he gets real first test. So with this one, we have Barry. Obviously, he's a CSI still. He works for the police department, and he kind of he's always late. You're always late, never on time. You don't even what I mean. And the thing with like him and I'm putting him and Iris already together, but not like married, just like dating, because I don't want, I don't really care for like, will they, won't they? It's like we know how this is gonna go. Like we're not gonna do this like, you know what I mean? We don't need to waste half the movie on like the romantic drama that's not really there. It's like, dude, we get it. They're gonna be together. So they're dating, but I think she kind of has like, she has like issues with him because he's always late. He'll miss dinner, or he'll like do this, or he'll forget about stuff. But obviously, I'm a superhero, so like, I'm busy. But like, she doesn't know at first. But I mean, he tells her because I care about you and all this stuff and all. And then, okay, enough of that. And then we get Mirror Master because I always think Mirror Master is a very cool villain. I think he kind of has that like Mysterio kind of in terms of like, what's the word, illusion, and like especially with like kicks. I mean, some of those mirror things are ridiculous. Like he can like make different versions of himself or trap people in mirrors or something, and I'm just like, what? Your light refractions have been trapped in this vortex or something, and it's just like that makes no sense. But I like it. I don't get it, but I'm for it. But I like it also because I think that's a villain that makes the most sense for Flash to have a problem with, because like for most villains, I feel like he can just outrun and punch them.
Mm.
So it's kind of like, I think with Mirror Master, he's like, it doesn't matter how fast you are if you don't actually understand what you're seeing.
Right.
And I think that's a big part of that. So I think he'll have problem with Mirror Master, but that'll be the villain that kind of realizes, being a superhero is not all fun and games and just, trip, criminals or whatever and just, drop them in the jail cell like in the cartoons and just like I win, like game over. It's like it's a very people die, people get trapped in mirror dimensions forever or something. I don't know, like you trap someone in a mirror and then the mirror breaks and they just break into pieces or something. Like that's kind of terrifying. So that kind of freaks him out. But I think that'd be a good villain to kind of wake him up and stuff. So I think that'd be good.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't go into too much details because it's kind of like, he saves the day and everything.
Yeah, not every movie I'm gonna make it have nearly much details.
Right. Especially if it's kind of just we need to establish this character so we can get somewhere else. Okay. So next we go Superman because again, Superman. So you have to Superman. So we have Superman. This is about okay, so basically how we make this work, so it's a little like it kind of makes more sense logically, is that Clark Kent moves to Metropolis at like right after college, we'll say like 22 23 or so, and then he waits about a year or two before he becomes Superman, just to like not make it, because he's from Smallville. He's used to everyone knowing they're in each other's business and like, Clark wasn't around for the ball game on Friday, and I heard that tractor got lifted over the ball. You know what I mean? So when people are all in your business, you're kind of paranoid that everyone's going to be paying attention to me. But he doesn't realize he lives in basically New York, so no one cares.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know that until later. So he's kind of going out of his way to be like super like sneaky about things and never like, oh, no, Superman, I've never heard of that. Like, Clark, weren't you supposed to write a paper on that last week? It's like, yeah, right. That's how I know about Super. You know what I mean? Like he's very like. Also, I think Superman should have like a slight country accent, or at least Clark Kent should. Maybe not Superman, but I think Clark Kent should. Because again, you know what I mean? Because like again, I don't really, I've never been to Kansas personally, but I mean, I assume, a farmer from Kansas would have somewhat of an accent.
Yeah.
So like. So I think it should be, but I think it's important to him have it, but Superman not have it.
Yeah, because Ma and Pa Kent in the Man of Steel have one.
Exactly.
He doesn't. So
right, which makes no sense at all, because that's not how that's how accents work. You kind of just gain it from whoever you're around.
Yeah.
So I think Clark Kent should especially have an accent. I think that would also help with his like disguise per se. And so it's like, yeah, he like he like says like y'all, or like I don't know, like just like random. It's like, oh, it's over yonder by, and she's like, over what? He's like, it's by the store. I think like Lois should give him crap about his accent all the time. I think that would be a good like. Really good. That would be something good. So then we have so Superman's established, and then what we have is obviously Lex Luthor, because you can't have one without the other. So basically, what I like about their dynamic is that obviously Superman can punch Luthor through a building. You know what I mean? But like you can't though, because he's Metropolis's favorite son. He's also got shady dealings in every business. You know what I mean? He's like, so like I had an idea where he like has, in order to like take down some of his business competition, he sets up like, accidents and, fires and this just technical difficulties on like, S.T.A.R Labs or, some other random tech place or some competition place.
Argus, Cadmus, whatever.
Right, whatever, just to kind of like, LexCorp's stocks go obviously through the roof. Everyone else stocks go south for the winter.
Yeah.
So
like kind of puts them out of business. He then buys them up, becomes
right. You know how this goes. The corporate BS that like runs the world. And of course, Luthor's just doing this like casually, like, oh yeah, sure, we'll take them over next week. It's no big deal. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, sir, I need a family. It's like, you should about that before you became peasants or something. Like, I mean, not like something about that. Like some kind, obviously he has the like enormous ego trip. That's really awesome. And like he's, but he's also, it's Lex Luthor. He's not like, just like, he's very like casual about being better than you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's kind of just like, well, this is the way it's supposed to be because I'm Lex Luthor and you're not.
Right.
So like, I'm better than you. And then of course Superman comes on the scene and Lex hates it because I mean, even someone like Lex Luthor can't be like, well, I'm better than Superman. It's like, well, you can't fly or lift the planet, so I mean, not really, bro. So of course Superman obviously wants to stop Luthor, but he can't prove it because Luthor's shady. He does this for a living. And also, I mean, how's it look that Superman, this, granted, this alien who, oh my gosh, he caught this airplane from being crashed in. Yeah, but because he was flying so fast, half the people died directly on impact. And like, that's like what Luthor tries to like sneak into the narrative. Superman's doing more harm than good, really trying to just discredit this guy. And like, again, setting things up to make Superman look bad on purpose. And I think that's really important to kind of, because again, it's like when you can't beat him in a fist fight, obviously you have to beat him another way. And I think this like manipulating the populace to like, turn against Superman, which, logically doesn't, you know what I mean? Like it would make sense, and especially if Superman's kind of new and Lex has been here for the city for the last how many years,
Yeah.
I think that's really important. I think that's really good. So that dynamic, obviously, Superman figures out some way to like out Luthor. Maybe he gets help from Lois to like get the story or something to investigate. But basically, he has to do all that. Also, because we need fighting, I put Metallo in there also because we need fighting. Superman can't just catch things. But Metallo's like, Luthor's project or whatever to try to stop Superman. But I don't think he has kryptonite yet because I don't think anyone knows about kryptonite yet. So we will keep that. I don't know. Well, what do you think?
So I could easily see a thing where, yes, he is doing kind of these shady business practices just because he's an evil, maniacal billionaire. But I could easily see it where like specifically he's like targeting specific businesses because they are means to an end of building Metallo. Like maybe whatever, like one business is creating the AI that will create like that will essentially become the personality of Metallo. One like has obtained this mysterious foreign substance that can be used to power Metallo, that which is kryptonite or whatever.
See that is why I think what I mean. Like I didn't even think about that. That could make it like that's another layer in the whole story. That's huge. He's like he's doing it because he's evil, but there's more. It's Lex Luthor. There's always another reason. So I think that's really smart. See there. See, this is why we need to be on the same team to make you. This is what I mean. We'll make this. No, that's okay. So that's a great idea. I'm stealing that. That's great. So yeah, we'll do that. So yeah, that'll be a whole thing. He makes your talent. So yeah, I think kryptonite. Yeah, maybe. It's the only thing is like kryptonite is so like random. I feel like it's like, is that really gonna be like? I know that's like Metallo's power source or whatever, but it's like that would be like the craziest coincidence ever. Like,
I mean, maybe at some point earlier in the movie, Superman somehow comes in contact with it, and Lex Luthor realizes that it's just like, I don't know if Luthor like has a little bit and he uses it on him, or if it's just like out in a field somewhere, or just kind of randomly on Earth, and he.
Well, you did mention S.T.A.R Labs earlier, so maybe like while while trying to stop S.T.A.R Labs from being targeted by one of Luthor's attacks, he's like weakened by they have some like random substance or whatever, just kind of around, and he's like weakened it, and Luthor like sees it on the camera. He's like, wait, go back. What is that? This is something called kryptonite or something. I don't know. He's like, do we have that now? Yes, sir. It's down there. Bring it up here. Let's see if we can do something. You know what I mean? And maybe that's how they figure something out. That's a little cheesy, but I think that could work a little easier than just, oh yeah, we just happen to have this.
Yes.
So like, okay, something like that could be okay. Because again, I do want to incorporate that, especially these, because again, it's hard because like how kryptonite is discovered is kind of like, I feel like it's been glossed over kind of. It kind of just was there. So I'm like trying to like get that origin gotta be done a certain way. So I think that's good. But I like that idea though. Because he's not just using it to like, you know, take over. He's also, because again, his like, as soon as Superman shows up, his mind immediately goes from dominating people to I need to dominate him now. Because that's the next thing. I have to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every anime rival or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like I have to beat him now. That's my only reason for being, and everything else is meaningless. So like, but I think that's a good idea. Like, yeah, using that in order to make Metallo is that, but then Superman eventually figures it out, and that's Superman. Okay. Nice. I like this. Okay. Okay. So after that, we have not starring Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern.
He like could have been a decent.
I know, and I do love Ryan Reynolds, like by all means, but I think it just wasn't meant to be. I don't know. So this one's gonna be kind of similar to like this one is gonna be kind of an origin story, kind of, because it's kind of just, it's been done, but I don't think it's as mainstream as the other ones.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, because I mean, like, you know, so like basically, you know, obviously we're going with Hal Jordan's, you know, test pilot, Ferris Air, all that good stuff. He's engaged to Carol Ferris, her dad owns the place, all that stuff. And then, you know, plane gets hit by basically an alien who was fighting a Green Lantern. Green Lantern gets killed. The Ring chooses Jordan. Jordan's like, what the crap? And basically is teleported straight to Oa. So, and he's like, okay, aliens, like, you know, you find out in 5 seconds, aliens and space travel is totally real and everything is crazy. So he's kind of freaking out. But basically, the ring fills him in on the way about the last person who had the ring, which I believe Abin Sur, is that his name?
That sounds right, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's his name. So the ring kind of like gives him a little backstory of what the Green Lantern Corps is, what this does, why we do what we do, all this stuff. You've been chosen, we'll say. Not like you had a choice, but I mean, you're kind of a Green Lantern now, or else. So that's a whole thing. He becomes a lantern. Other lanterns obviously don't like him because Abin Sur was like really liked. It's kind of like, you know, it's like a Jedi gets killed and then you just kind of show up with their lightsaber and it's kind of just like, oh, I think not. You know what I mean? They're kind of upset about it, but the Guardians are like, nope, the ring chose him. It's the move. And they're just like, fine. So of course he like basically has to learn how to be an alien, you know, has to learn how to be this intergalactic intergalactic police officer or whatever. He learns, you know, he's like, and I wanted to put it like kind of like make it a little more like, I don't know, kind of interesting because like I know they don't have like units or anything. I know they all just kind of have their quadrants, but like I feel like some lanterns should know other lanterns better. So like maybe like Kilowog is like the next unit over or something like that to kind of like, you know, or like I think he's also like one of the trainers or whatever. So like just have, you know, him and like Sinestro and like all the kind of like he has like, you know, like a core group kind of.
Yeah.
So like they're kind of like, okay, this is Jordan, this is Hal Jordan, blah blah blah. Come with us, let's figure this out. You know, and they kind of they go around and basically they go to distress call to this planet, and basically the planet is being taken over by this army of blue people, and they're doing this whole thing, and they gotta fight, you know, and they're figuring this out. And basically, long story short, we find out it's Despero. So Despero's doing this whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, nice. I know, right? Yeah, so that's what I was saying. So like we're doing this whole thing. Greenland, they have to stop them and all this. Some lanterns die because, you know, that's how it goes. And basically, you know, there's that whole thing. But eventually they stop them. But the movie ends and Green Lantern kind of just he's like, okay, well, this is crazy. I can't wait to go back home. And tell like, oh, you can't go home. He's like, excuse me? Like he's like, what do you mean I can't go? It's like, you have to stay here. You have to do this and this and that. So he just has to stay in space for he doesn't even know how long. So that's just kind of how it ends.
Okay.
That sucks. But it do be like that.
Yeah.
So, and then we have Wonder Woman. because Wonder Woman. So that one's also gonna be this one was kind of tricky because I didn't want to do the whole like World War One thing, like kind of because it's weird because it's like I feel like that's always how, and I know that's kind of accurate, but I was like, what if we just did it with like 2021?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like it's not like a world war per se, but it could be like war between different countries or whatever.
Yeah, like two fictional countries, maybe.
Yeah, it could be like I know.
Some of the
Well, what
Karak or
I was
something.
right is like it basically, like Bialia, right?
Yeah.
So basically, I was gonna have Queen Bee or whatever use her power. She's like manipulating other countries and kind of starting World War III. And before it gets that far, U.S. intelligence is trying to go over there, figure out what's going on. Steve Trevor gets shot down, and just so happens, that he finds himself to Paradise Island. Wonder Woman finds him, yada, yada, yada. They go, they figure out Queen Bee's thing, and then they have to take her down, basically. Yeah. But I think that's kind of, so yeah, I don't, that one's probably, that one I need to like write out more of it, but that was kind of just the gist of it.
Yeah, because like I really do like Queen Bee as the main villain.
Mm-hmm.
I do kind of feel like as a Wonder Woman movie, there needs to be some other entity for her to like fight.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just like someone else.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. I was like, because again, Giganta also in there because I feel like Giganta's because I feel like Giganta's a good like kind of like the Metallo of Wonder Woman, like a good person you can fight, but not like a character who like planned the whole thing herself. You know what I mean? She seems kind of very much a muscle only character. So I kind of wanted to put her, she was like, some test subject from Queen Bee or something that, some crazy thing that ended up working out. And she's, that's the size of a building.
So. I really don't like Giganta's backstory of her being like a gorilla that turned into a human. That's weird.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I'd rather it just be the standard. You know what? Too much. Someone was drinking too much milk. No, I'm just playing. But like, yeah, I think it should be the standard. Like, test subject for foreign country. Turns out she's this giant, like, 60-foot tall, like, giant woman who, like, obviously can go code toe to toe with Wonder Woman because she's huge. So, like, even though Wonder Woman's super strong, it's like, you can still punch back pretty well. Just pretty much Wonder Woman has to use like her speed and stuff to like. Yeah. So I think that'd be good. Yeah. So I think. Yeah, but also like what else did I? Let me see. I'm trying to think. Did I have something else? Because I know I had Queen Bee. I had Steve Trevor. Yeah, Steve Trevor. Yeah. So basically, they after the movie they go back and everyone's like Wonder Woman's awesome because she stopped World War III and all that. So that's awesome. She's a hero. She lives in DC. Meets all. Wonder Woman's a cool person. So that's a thing. So that all happens.
Yeah.
And then we go to wait, did I? Wait. Did I? Yes. Okay. Yeah, okay, there we go. Okay. So then we get to our first Justice League movie. So this is where things start to, come together. So obviously, like I said earlier, in Green Lantern, we have Despero's army kind of, doing things, conquering worlds, taking over minds, that yada yada yada. So basically, some of Despero's forces find themselves to the Milky Way galaxy, and they take over Mars. You know where this is going. Martian Manhunter flees to Earth because logically that's the next planet because they know we exist. We just don't know they exist, obviously. So he comes to Earth to try to like warn us Despero's coming. Obviously, Martian shows up on Earth. We freak out because that's what we do. And then, so basically the government very hush hush tries to like, take him out, all the stuff, and all, so they, basically the government, from using missiles and whatever, they realize very quickly Martians don't like fire. They take him under like, Area 51 or whatever they would use, and that happens. But he, kind of like in the Justice League cartoon, he telepathically reaches out to the champions of the world. They all kind of show up at his location. And then he tells them, okay, so we got to start Despero and all this. And they're like, who the heck is Despero? And of course, then Green Lantern shows up because he's like, okay, Despero's coming. Everyone follow me because I run this, like, I got this. You guys work with me. And then he quickly finds out they're better than him. Well, he's like, okay, whatever. I don't care. As long as we get this done. I'm just happy to be on Earth, man. Like, I do not. He's like, I could not get here fast enough, believe me. So
yeah.
they all, they have to they fight Despero. They end up figuring out that the secret to his power is the torch of Pytar? Is it? Something like
it's
that.
The flame of P-Tar.
Flame of Pytar. Yeah,
EY''TAR.
You're right. I thought it was flame of Pytar. Or no,
yeah,
torch of Pytar. Whatever, flame, whatever.
Yeah.
Basically, they figure out a source of power. They how it goes. They're superheroes. They win. They take them out. It's how they do.
So essentially, Green Lantern, like the Green Lantern movie, is kind of the Thor 1 of this universe, where like that plot kind of bleeds into the first.
Kind of, yeah. It kind of sets up the ultimate villain, but doesn't bring, because like they're fighting him somewhere else in the universe.
Yeah.
And again, because Despero's like legions are so wide and vast, he can be in more, they can be in more places than just one. So when he gets word that, the Milky Way galaxy, which is kind of like his sector per se, is like under attack, he's like, okay, Despero's here. We need to go because they're too late to save Mars.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, well, Mars is gone because of course he knows there's Martians now because there's other aliens. But, other people don't know that. So he's like, no. Like, wait, do you have other Martians? He's like, there are other Martians, dude. Chill. Yes. Like. So that's a whole thing. So that's the first. So that's the first like phase there, I guess. I know that was pretty like a lot going on.
Okay.
I hope that works together.
So your Justice League is Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Martian.
Yes, I wanted to go for 7, but I was like, I can't think of like a good 7th. Cause like I don't know, man. Like I didn't want to do Aquaman because like. One, I don't think Aquaman should be a founding member, personally.
For the record, he like in the like original Justice League from the 40s, 60s,
something like that.
Whichever was like the actual Justice League.
Right.
I think he was one of the originals.
I know. Like I know he's always been an OG. I don't know. I don't know if it's like a mixture of just like the recency with like they try to force it. Like it's like not hard, but it's like Aquaman is one of those characters that like works well in his element, but not many other places.
That's fair. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Aquaman doesn't work well in space.
Mm.
Like at least I don't think so. Because it's like there's especially there's no water anywhere. It's like, what are you gonna do? Like you're still like, yes, he's still super strong and like invulnerable, but like I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. And I thought about that and I was like, okay, what about like Hawkman or something? But I was like,
yeah.
Like not that, you know what I mean? Because it's like basically it was like if I want to make them aside from Martian Manhunter, if I wanted to make them in it, they kind of had to have their own movie, and I couldn't really think of anyone I wanted to make a whole movie about. Just for this.
That's fair.
So I was kind of like,
When they at the end of Justice League, when they fight Despero, is it on Earth or is it like up in space more so?
Well, I think it'll start on Earth and then they'll like primarily move towards. I'm imagining Despero has like a giant like fleet of ships or something.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like some of them get to Earth, they got to take them down, and then eventually they kind of take the fight kind of to his legion of ships, and eventually on the ship like the Flame or something is with them or something. I don't know, which I don't think they'd take the Flame with them. Maybe I don't know, but somehow they figure it out. That's the part where I was like, I haven't exactly figured out.
Oh yeah, that's there. My list has a lot of weird, like not necessarily plot holes because there's not really a plot yet, but like things that just kind of I have ideas might happen. Not exactly sure how to bridge that yet, but yeah. Don't feel bad about not knowing everything.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I was thinking. I was like, how am I going to tie this up? And I was like, I mean, they're good guys. We know they're going to win. It's fine. It's fine. We'll get there. That's what like years of production and writing is for. Like you have to figure it out in a week. Like, but okay, so that's the first part. Okay. So now we have kind of our second, I guess, phase. I guess is like I don't want to use phase. I thought it's too on the nose, but at the same time, what else do you call it?
Yeah.
So anyway, so that happened. So now, okay, so basically, yeah, aliens have come to Earth more or less, but I don't think it's like as common knowledge about it because it's like, like obviously we know Superman's an alien, stuff like that, but it's like, Despero's invasion was kind of, let's, unless you saw it, you didn't really hear about it in the news because
Yeah.
you want to keep things hush hush. People don't want to freak out. But anyway, so our next movie is, guessed it, another Batman movie because Batman is awesome. So this Batman movie is basically gonna be kind of like the long Halloween-ish because we have to, because like we just went through a lot, so we have to kind of upscale the adversaries. So it's like you can't just, you can't save the world and then go back to fighting gangsters. Really, it kind of feels beneath him. So what happens is basically, so Batman's reputation is basically soaring after the events of Justice League. Like, you heard about it. Batman kind of more or less allegedly saved the world. Some people believe it, some people don't. But, regular, like carjackers aren't taking the chance. You know what I mean? Like regular criminals have kind of chilled out. And to help out with that, Robin is also kind of helping with the like lower tier crime. So Robin's like 15, 16 right now. Dick Grayson's kind of like handling the smaller things. And Batman is kind of handling kind of bigger stuff that comes with. So like, so he's working with Batman, but they have a kind of a disparity on like, this is a Batman only level threat. You need to stay down here, kind of stuff like that. Because, but Robin obviously thinks I can handle it. So basically, as the long Halloween goes, a lot more superpowered villains start showing up. So like, you get your Poison Ivies, you get your, Mr. Freeze, like, more not just muggers kind of thing. Bigger stuff. And obviously, because we have to, we bring in the Joker because it's the Joker. And the Joker goes ham in this movie. So basically, we get the whole Harvey Dent Two-Face arc kind of going because we set up Harvey kind of in the last movie. Guy everybody likes, kind of like, cleaning up not Wall Street, cleaning up the like, locking him up basically. He's like, good-looking lawyer. Everyone likes him. He's on TV. I'm fighting for you as your district attorney. You know what I mean? Everybody likes him. You know that guy. So basically, he's that guy. The Joker does the whole like, acid to the face thing. Or I know the Joker didn't originally do. I know it was some guy in court, but I mean, we're gonna say the Joker did.
It's okay.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't have every little thing. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it's close enough. Yeah, that going on, and basically, Batman kind of is learning that, like, even though something is that you need to have more, he's learning. Okay, maybe it's okay to have. Starts bringing Robin along with him, and wouldn't you know it, Robin gets shot by the Joker because that's how it goes. And Joker
not really killed, just shot at.
Not killed, just shot.
Yeah,
just shot, but like not like could have been killed. Like right, it's like the shoulder, but like close to his heart, so it could have been really bad. But he was lucky basically. So after that happens, Batman basically fires Dick Grayson, says, "Don't be Robin. Give me the suit. Give me all that stuff." I knew this was a bad idea. That is like, wait, this was your idea. That's not the point. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he does all that. Batman, of course, Batman and the Joker go toe to toe. They have this huge fight because that's how it's done. And basically, Batman beats the Joker, takes him, and when he gets back, Robin's gone. Robin's just gone. So that's how the movie ends. And then we go to our next movie, which is we go to our next movie, which is Green Lantern 2, which is wild. So basically, Green Lantern has been back on Earth for a little while because, the whole Justice League events he had, helped save the world, all that for, his reward from the Guardians is he gets to stay on Earth for a whole week.
Wow.
So, that's just, so obviously while he's there, he's like, okay, so I've been gone for like a year or more probably. So like, let's figure this out. So obviously the dude was engaged. He tries to find his, he tries to find Carol. Carol's nowhere to be found anywhere. The airplane company's been taken, they're a different name is taken over, Ferris Air, all that stuff. no idea where Carol is, can't find her, spends like the whole week finding, and he ends up leaving Earth early because there's nothing left for me here if I can't find my Carol. Comes back to Oa and all this stuff. And basically, well, he's like telling his feelings. He's like, because he doesn't really have any friends. He's talking to Sinestro, who's basically his buddy now, because all my other friends are on Earth. He's confiding in him all this and that and that, and Sinestro's like, man, you're really confronted with your feelings. It sounds like you have a lot of, you're really worried about this and that. And basically, Sinestro Loki tries to get him to like, hey man, so like, we're making a new Lantern Corps. Do you want to be a part of it or not? Like, and then Hal's like, I mean, like, rail's not really my color. Like, no, I'm just kidding. But basically, so Sinestro basically kind of tries to do the whole, like, kind of manipulate him to his side without telling him. Because again, Hal Jordan's still young. He doesn't really know how this works.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what it ends up is Sinestro basically takes a large portion of the Green Lanterns and turns them to his own Yellow Lantern because, having the will to stop evil isn't enough to stop it. He believes.
Mm-hmm.
He's that you have to. He's like you have to truly like take. I guess I can't think of the phrase yet, but it's gonna be something like
embrace the evil for whatever.
Yeah, it's like you must truly frighten the evil out of others or something like that, and like use So basically, him and a bunch of lanterns leave the Green Lantern Corps and make this Yellow Lantern Corps, and basically are like, all right, so there's going to be some changes. And what I called it, and basically I call the movie Green Lantern War of the Corps because I thought it sounded catchy, even though it's not like it's spelled like differently, but it's called Corps. So I thought that would be interesting.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a Green Lantern War. Basically, nice. That's a whole thing. They have, Green Lantern and like Kilowog and all of them go against, Sinestro, and he got some, and I'm trying to make it like that, like some established-ish character from the last movie are on both sides, so you kind of get invested and like you actually feel it. So it's, that's a really interesting thing. Obviously, the Guardians and like the Green Lantern Corps kind of win, but Sinestro and his Corps kind of also just kind of flee and do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how they get the Yellow Lantern and stuff, that's still kind of foggy. But like maybe Sinestro found it on a planet or something. I don't know. But like,
yeah,
we'll get there. But yeah, again,
like I said, it's not your job to make every single little.
That's what I'm saying. Like we'll get there when we get there. But like, if we were really making a movie about this, that's how I want to go. So like, yeah, basically, it's this insane battle between the different corps.
In your world, because I know in the Super Friends show from the 60s or 70s, whenever it was a thing where Green Lanterns can't hurt things that are yellow, which I always found hilarious.
No, we are not. No, it was like, wasn't it like that in like wood? Wasn't that the other one?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like wood, which is so stupid, by the way. But no, we're not doing that. Okay. I mean, we could like nod to it by saying like the power of the Yellow Lanterns is stronger than like the will of the Green. So that'll be kind of like an homage to it because like there will be less Yellow Lanterns, but they'll be kind of like how there's less Sith Lords, but they have more in tune with the Force than like the average Jedi, kind of. So it'll be kind of like that, but I don't think it's going to be like oh no, my ring has no effect on this yellow. Like, no, it's not going to be that bad. That's kind of just stupid, honestly. But yeah, that's kind of how that's going to go. I think that'll be a lot of fun. But also, Hal Jordan gets like severely injured. He doesn't die, but he gets severely injured, basically. But because he's hurt, I think a lot of Lanterns do die. And because I think the Guardians realize humans are pretty good, they send some rings down to Earth. But that'll be a thing for later.
Nice.
So that's good. So I'm trying to, as you can probably see, I'm trying to do a lot with
yeah.
So there's a lot I'm trying to build because I want to make this whole universe, but also
you don't want Kyle Rayner, Jon Stewart, Jessica Cruz just to pop out of nowhere. You want it to at least
right, but I don't think I'm gonna give them each a movie about their origins. But it's like when they show up, it's not gonna be like, oh, that just happened out of nowhere. It's gonna be like, oh, cool. Like we've got next time we'll just see oh yeah, that'll be great. So basically, that happens. Okay, and then we have Superman 2. now. So Superman 2 is based around basically two things. We get Kara Zor-El and we get Brainiac, basically.
Yep.
Because that's how things go. So basically how I'm going to kind of do this is because, okay, so I don't know the official, is Brainiac the reason Krypton blows up? Is that like, does that depend or is that always?
It depends. Pretty much every time they decide to put Brainiac in a story, that's it. But like until then, that's not canon. That makes sense.
Kind of,
until they decide Brainiac did it, it's not canon. But like, yeah, I guess generally Brainiac is at least somewhat responsible for it.
Yeah, because like the way I want to see it is like I think Brainiac should be. I don't think it should be like Brainiac was always on Krypton, but I think Brainiac should kind of show up, like take Kara's city or whatever. I forget the name of it, and then just blow up the rest of the planet, kind of.
Yep.
Because it would be like, oh, a meteorite. Like no, it was pretty much like that. So basically. So what I'm thinking is kind of like whatever city that like Clark and Kara grow up in is like that's the city. Like, well, no, that wouldn't work. Never mind. So I'm thinking like basically they both escape because I think their uncles or brothers they're like because they're cousins, so their dads are brothers, and they both kind of have the same idea to send their kids off world, and then Brainiac destroys Krypton basically as they escape. But then Supergirl, who's like, I think she was like a teenager at the time, but she gets in a black hole, so somehow her like time doesn't age. I don't know. It was some BS like that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go with that because that's the only way to explain why she's younger than him. But basically, yeah, we're gonna go with she goes into some kind of black hole. She doesn't age. Obviously, Superman's aged quite a bit, and she's like 16, 17. He's like mid to late 20s at least. So, yeah, so that'll be a thing. She'll come to Earth and all this, but unbeknownst to her, Brainiac was tracking her. So now Brainiac is coming to Earth because why not?
Yep.
So Brainiac comes to Earth. They have to stop him, and Brainiac is kind of Brainiac's deal. Scan the Earth, take a sample, blow it up. Like it's a pretty cut and dry thing. So he comes down, and that's kind of his whole plan. So they have to obviously Superman with the help of Supergirl because she has to like kind of learn. She gets these new powers. She has to kind of learn how to figure out, but she also can she figures it out pretty easily. And they they kind of figure out, and then they get the thing, and they beat Brainiac.
Yeah.
Long story short, because I didn't figure out the
you guys win.
But it matters not. So that's all that matters. So basically, they're gonna teach. Yeah, basically they're gonna teach you how to, figure out, how to get there, how to do all, those stuff. But basically, at the end of the movie, Kara needs to learn how to become his powers. So Superman takes them to Paradise Island, where she becomes like an Amazon for a while.
Nice.
And that's how the movie ends. Okay. So next we have a Teen Titans show because I like shows. So as we know, as we left it, Dick Grayson is gone. He left Gotham. I don't know where he went. Basically. So in the show, we kind of have the first episode or two is kind of a flashback explaining that Robin went to Metropolis to talk to Superman because over the years they got close. Sure. Like we don't know, like we don't really know, but like sure, why not? Because comic books. Over the years they got kind of close. They talk. They explain, Bruce is treating me like a child. This, well, Bruce can be like that, yeah, but yeah. So basically, they do for a while. They work together, and eventually, he tells them the story about the, Kryptonian superhero or something. And then Dick's like, "That's a cool name. I'm gonna steal that." And then basically, as the show kind of starts, we kind of just Dick Grayson has kind of been collecting individuals that he's found that are younger but have these superpowers. So we kind of just start. He already has the original 5 Teen Titans that we know
nice.
From like the kid show. because I didn't want to go into the origins of all of them. Also, some of their origins make no sense. So
Yeah, like Beast Boy has been with the Doom Patrol for a couple of years, but he's still like 12.
yeah,
So
yeah, that's kind of my thing. Because like the thing about Beast Boy is like if I do his origin, I have to do the whole Doom Patrol too, and like that's a lot of time.
It'll be referenced, but they don't get a whole movie.
No, I mean they don't. No, they're not getting a whole movie. Like obviously, and I feel like the show is like between the original cartoon and also that Titan show that's not that great. Like I feel like we know enough about the original team. Like, well, I say the original, even though they're not the original. Like my original Teen Titans enough that it's you'll be fine. So I think that's fine. And I think throughout the show, I think they'll add some people also because like they'll add, like for example, they'll add
Wonder Girl.
Huh?
Wonder Girl.
Well, I was thinking about Wonder Girl, but I wanted to save that because because I think Wonder Girl and Kara will get along really well because they're both like mascara. So like they'll, I think that'll help them get along well. But I think they'll come together. They'll come with the Titans late. I think the next time we see the Titans. So like basically they'll have that, and then I think halfway through the show they'll get Tara because Tara, and like she'll be a character. She'll be likable. We'll have a whole show. And as far as the villain, I was thinking Brother Blood, but at the same time, I'm like, who else is there? Because I don't want to do Slade again because I feel like that's a little. Although I do like Slade though, but it's like, well, maybe I'll.
You have a whole show. You can even just one episode. You can still do them.
That's kind of what I'm saying, but I don't know how I should do that. But basically, they have a show. It's probably not gonna be long. I'm thinking like 10 episodes, maybe. It's probably not gonna be that long. So like we'll probably have like a villain of the week every now and again, and then kind of have an overarching villain. I'm not totally sure about that. So that's a show that happens, and then after that,
I think for that style, The Hive, which Brother Blood is kind of over, can kind of send out people like Mammoth, Gizmo, other people.
Right, that's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah, something a little more episodic-ish because it is episodes, but I think that would go really well. And then after that, we have Flash 2. So this is the second Flash. This Flash movie introduces the Speed Force and kind of how that works and everything. But of course, it also introduces, you guessed it, Reverse Flash, because why not?
Yep.
And then so that's a whole thing. And we also are going to get a little bit of Wally West because I think it's good that he has his whole origin with like, he uses science to get the same powers that Barry did by accident, basically. So I think that would be good. But yeah, I think Reverse Flash would be a good film. Also, Barry and Iris are just married now. We're just gonna go with that because it's been long enough that it would make sense that they're married now. So like we don't have to see the wedding to assume people who've been dating for a while just get married.
Yep.
So like that's fine.
Like I think the Flash show took like 4 seasons to have them married. Like what? Why?
Yeah, I don't. That's well. I mean, it's a TV show. It's a drama, so they have to like they have to Jim and Pam it, I guess. Like, I mean, they don't have to, but they decided to. But we're not doing that. It's like how this goes. We're not going to waste time. They're just married. So like they're married now. Wally comes in. He's like a teenager, obviously. That happens. So they have Reverse Flash. He finds out Reverse Flash is from the future, killed my mom, etc. We fight. This is crazy. And basically, kind of indirectly through Reverse Flash, he learns about how the Speed Force works and how to make himself, faster, how to improve his ability. How when you see someone else with the same skill set you have, they do things you've never done. You know how like when you're playing a fighting game and someone leases your character, they do things you never thought about, and you're just like, oh snap! So that opens up a lot of things for Barry. So he learns a lot of things about his powers. So I think that's really good. So that happens. And then next we get Wonder Woman 2, which is now we come into basically like we go back to Themyscira. We have Donna Troy for a little bit. We have also Supergirl still there. So they kind of help, just kind of training them. And then as far as the villain, this time it got a little hard because I was running out of Wonder Woman villains and I was trying to think because I was like, well, they did Ares, they did Cheetah already. I already used Giganta and kind of Queen Bee. So I was trying to like think of villains. And this is kind of what I mean where I was kind of running out of villain ideas. So as far as the villain, I was trying to think of someone who could like, you know what I mean? didn't really be a challenge then. So I was like, well, maybe I could have the Amazons fight each other, but I feel like that's kind of lame, but I don't know. But
Felix Faust?
Felix Faust, maybe. Felix Faust,
or some other
maybe.
sorcerer?
That's kind of what I was thinking. That's the thing. I was kind of stuck here as a villain. Because originally I was gonna try to like maybe see, because like I didn't want to just use the villain that's already been used, but I feel like Wonder Woman doesn't have a lot of like notable villains, so I don't know, but we'll get there. I'll figure something out. But anyway, they have a movie. There's character development. It's a good time. And then
for the record, whenever Kevin Feige lays out, phase 5, he's gonna list like 10 movies. They're not made yet. They don't even have storyboards yet. They're like, here are movies we want to make, and then they make them later. So like Wonder Woman 2 goes here. We'll make it later.
Right. That's kind of what I'm doing. I'm like, Wonder Woman 2 goes here just for character development, and also I want to follow up with just kind of sending Tara to Themyscira.
Yes.
Without kind of like context. So like I think that would be a thing. They can kind of have a sisterly relationship.
Yeah.
And then that's a whole thing. And then we have Justice League 2, because it's time for everybody's favorite, the Tower of Babel, because it's about that time. So basically it's kind of like a Legion of Doom, but also Tower of Babel at the same time, because like, why not?
Yep.
So we've got like Luthor, we've got Deathstroke, we've got like, I think Queen Bee's back. I put Mirror Master back. Like, pretty much everyone who's been a villain, and then a couple who haven't, but you assume they've been villains. So like I put Captain Cold in there. I didn't put Sinestro in there, but I did put Star Sapphire, and I think that's a big point because we haven't seen Carol since the first movie, so that's going to be a whole thing.
Yeah, nice.
So I think that'll be a little thing. I was thinking about, do I give it another movie just for them? And I was like, maybe. But I was like, I think I can follow up with that later.
Yeah.
So I kind of just go with it. We have all this stuff, but we have some new Justice League members too. So like this, now, like some people just kind of show, like Aquaman's kind of just there now, because we have Aquaman now. We have Shazam now. We have Zatanna now. And we have John Stewart Green Lantern, because why not?
Yep.
Actually, no, that doesn't. Well, does that work? Because it's like, there's no point in putting Star Sapphire in it. It's John Stewart. But I was like, can I have them both? But I feel like that's over.
If you have Star Sapphire on the Legion of Doom, I think you need Hal Jordan.
That's what I was thinking, but I also didn't want to just leave.
I think you could have both and be fine.
But is that overkill? Because it's like,
essentially, I could easily see it where it's like they're not like really fighting together. Like essentially, because even in like something like Young Justice, where there are multiple Green Lanterns, they're never really together. They're like on different parts of the world doing
right.
stuff. I think you could have John Stewart even for like a scene or two, just kind of doing stuff over there.
Yeah, maybe he'll be
and have it make sense.
Yeah, maybe he'll be like on another planet or something. I don't know. But I don't know. It's
weird. That
was the thing I was worried about Star Sapphire. Because I was like, I feel like I shouldn't bring her in if we're not gonna have Hal Jordan. But also, I feel like the Legion of Doom needs a little more firepower. But I don't know, because then again, I might just save the whole Star Sapphire thing. But I think I do. I think I'll switch to Hal Jordan or John Stewart Green Lantern, because one, Hal's injured, and two, because it's about time to add some more lanterns, because why not? So we'll just have more. So that'll be a thing. So basically it's it's Tower of Babel. So like obviously they have all their weaknesses exploited. There's kryptonite, there's everything that takes everybody out. So even the newer Justice League members, Aquaman gets dehydrated or something. I'm not sure if that's actually how it works, but
I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah, something like that. Like he gets like super dehydrated and all this stuff. So like basically this all goes down. It's like, this all goes down, everything. And again, they beat the Legion of Doom, but after this, everyone's pissed at Batman. Like Batman does not have a leg to stand on at all. At all. And between this happening and Robin leaving, Batman's just like, you know what? Forget you guys. Like, I don't even like you guys. You guys aren't cool anyway. You know what I mean? Just like, forget you guys. So Batman's just gone. Like, nobody cares. And that's just it. So Batman's out of the Justice League for the foreseeable future, but they have
the next Justice League movie happens, and then it'll be like a problem. Yeah.
not yet. So that's the end of phase. So then we have phase 3. And then phase 3 starts with the Teen Titans movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So now we have a few more Teen Titans, obviously, because we got the originals. Now Donna Troy's there, Kid Flash is there. And I also put Supergirl in the Teen Titans because I always felt like she should be, but they always did Superboy. But I was like, I feel like Supergirl would make more sense.
Get more girls in there. That's fine. Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? I'm sure no one's complaining about. So I mean, so that's a whole thing. And then they have, of course, the Judas contract because that's the Teen Titans storyline everyone thinks of. So Tara obviously, throws them all under the bus. It's kind of I was a little worried because it is a little similar to Tower of Babel, but not in the same way. But it kind of has similar elements.
Oh, gonna go ahead and say most of my superhero stories have similarities. It's fine.
Okay.
It's that's not fine. As long as you're doing a story that makes sense in the universe, I personally don't think it really matters if 2 movies in the same world are similar, as long as because comic book stories often have very similar premises anyway. I don't really see a problem with just doing that in the big screen. So yeah, I don't really.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So yeah, it's kind of. So yeah, that was a whole thing, and just they have they have Tara betrays them, but at the end tries to redeem herself, but not. I honestly don't think she should. I feel like she should just kind of die, die as a traitor, kind of, because I feel like the redemption arc is kind of given out too loosely. It's kind of oh, I didn't mean to totally betray and have you guys killed, but forgive me, and it's nah, man. If you were willing to do that, you kind of knew what you were. You knew you're not. You would have stepped out before now. So no, she kind of just dies the traitor's death and all that. Of course, we've got Slade working with Brother Blood because Hive works with Slade, and Slade wants to just. He's had a rough couple times. He's tired of things going wrong. Happens. So that's a whole thing. The Teen Titans work out. They establish themselves and everything, and that's a whole thing. They're the real. They are, quote unquote, the real deal. So next, this one gets a little wild because so next we have Green Arrow and Black Canary together because I don't think they should have a movie separated because
Green Arrow doesn't deserve as a movie. No.
Shots fired. I mean, they could. It's just hard because he's kind of a worse Batman.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So it's just kind of so yeah, I think together because I'm kind of because they kind of feel like the Ant-Man and the Wasp kind of vibe for DC in this case. So it's kind of I feel like we should just skip the part where they're their own things, just be together because why not? So they're they have their own thing. They go against Count Vertigo because that's the best Green Lantern villain.
Green Arrow,
Green Arrow villain. They go together, but at the end of it, they, for one reason or another, because Oliver doesn't trust her or whatever, they just split up. And I don't mean just as a team. I mean they're let's put the marriage on hold and all this stuff. So it's just oh god, so that sucks. So Black Canary kind of goes her own way. GA goes his way, and they kind of separate. And then we have a Birds of Prey TV show because I'm skipping things, and basically Oracle's already a thing, which is kind of this is the part that's difficult because I was kind of do we skip the Killing Joke because that's really iconic, but there's still a lot of Batman I want to do, and I feel like I would run out of movies.
as cool as it would be to have a live action Killing Joke, it's not necessary to show.
Yeah, and the thing too is like that's a lot of Joker. And I
Yeah.
love the Joker. And like, but I don't want every time we see Batman, oh, there's the Joker. There's the Joker again. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I feel like it could just be this is one of those things that I could just be implied because there's a lot of but at the same time we didn't really have much Batgirl, which is also kind of the problem.
Assume people have read comics.
I know, but like I know, but I don't know. I don't want Barbara Gordon fans to be upset because we just kind of didn't do Batgirl. But I mean, also, isn't it weird that they did that Birds of Prey movie without like Barbara Gordon?
I mean, it's barely a Birds of Prey movie, so
that's true. That's true. It is just the Harley Quinn movie, but I mean,
I like it a lot. But
well, no, I'm not saying it's bad. I just like it threw me off a lot.
It was trying to do two different movies, and it did it fine enough, but it could have they should have focused on it being more Birds of Prey if they were actually wanting to do Birds of Prey.
That's kind of why I'm making it a show, and I'm thinking like through flashbacks we could kind of have the Killing Joke. We could like because she still has PTSD from like the Joker just kind of like answer the door. It's the Joker with a gun, like you know what I mean.
Theoretically, you could have Barbara be Batgirl for like half the show, and then Killing Joke happens on the show.
Maybe, but would she be able to go straight to Oracle like during the show? Well, maybe.
I mean, I assume theoretically it could have multiple seasons and have like Killing Joke be towards the end of season 1, beginning of season 2. She's Oracle.
That's true. But then would you really call it Bird? Well, yeah, they'd still be Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. So if she's still Batgirl for part of it, it's like it's her. We're just Huntress is just here because Huntress is here, and then Black Canary just separated from GA, so they're kind of doing their big thing. So is it kind of just what so it's kind of just the three of them. Like,
you want to throw Catwoman in there, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Is Catwoman, is that a thing? Like,
hang on. I think there's like 3 different girl team ups in Gotham. I know that there's the Sirens, Birds of Prey, and like one other that has Poison Ivy in it.
Right.
Catwoman might be in none or all of them.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it says here that like Catwoman is in some version. So like maybe, but I'm like, do I keep Cat? I'm like, but then I was thinking maybe Catwoman could be a villain though.
Sure.
Because like I feel like that's more. Because I don't know. I know in some iterations Catwoman's kind of just on whatever side she favors, kind of. I'm like, I feel like I always see Catwoman as a villain, so it's kind of like maybe she could be one of the villains they go against. But then again, it's like, so are they in Gotham? And if they're in Gotham, why isn't Batman handling this? But it's also like, well, where are the Birds of Prey usually? Like, where is their location? Do we really know?
Unclear. I don't really know enough about that.
That's fair. Let me see if I can.
I mean, it's mostly not like it's at least largely Batman affiliated characters.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of one of those things.
There are 4 different major superheroes in Hell's Kitchen, which is in New York,
right?
Which already has like 12 different other heroes.
Right. So that's the thing. It's like, is Batman? So well, maybe Batman could be like, ooh, Batman can be gone or something. I like it. Okay. So we'll say Batman is gone for now, and then Batgirl, which we didn't really establish when Batgirl became a thing, but we're going for it. Batgirl is going to be a town, but she can't be by herself. So we're just going to have Black Canary and Huntress just kind of around to help out with Gotham. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't get that far. I just kind of said we need Birds of Prey because, I don't know. I like different superhero teams and that such. Okay. And see, this is kind of where I reached the part where I kind of just had names of movies written down. So it's kind of, so I had Birds of Prey. I had We got to have the Superman Doomsday because every Superman story needs the Doomsday thing.
Yep.
I have.
And I think that's a decent movie to do as the third one in a trilogy of
Right.
Superman movies.
Right. And that's kind of how I did it because you have the first Superman movie, we have the Brainiac Superman movie, and then we have, okay, now this is the crit. And then we have a Justice League that will get wasted pretty much. They will get pretty much wiped by Doomsday, and Superman has to come come bring down the SmackDown, basically.
Yeah.
So that was, so I wanted that in there. And then basically I have a couple more movies. Like I have a what is another, no, I didn't. Did I want another Flash in there? I was thinking about it, but I was like, maybe not. But I kind of wanted to do the next Justice League movie kind of sooner after Superman dies, because it's like relevant. But at the same time, I was kind of unsure how to do it because I was like, can he really have a Justice League movie without Superman, even with all these other heavy hitters?
I mean,
at this point, we have a lot. But it's
yeah, because you have Shazam, Aquaman.
Right. Like, I mean, we already have Supergirl's been established, Wonder Woman. Like, I mean, we have a lot of going on. You know, by now, we probably have like Dr. Fate and stuff. We've got multiple Green Lanterns. But it's also like.
Not to like say you should copy the MCU to a T, but I could easily see a thing where it's like, now that Superman's dead, Darkseid shows up, wastes essentially half the Justice League. They don't know what to do. And beginning of like, that's one movie, and Justice League, not Endgame, but Justice League Apocalypse Part 2, they revive Superman, and then they win. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, see, this is where I kind of went on. This is kind of where I kind of ran into trouble because I was kind of just writing and I was like, okay, what do we do here? But I know I also wanted a Suicide Squad movie in the space before that Justice League came through because I wanted to, like, because you always need at least one of those.
Yeah, I can go kind of anywhere. So
yeah, that's kind of thing. It's kind of like you can just do whatever. Like, I don't think it's going to be anything Starro related, but I mean, like, but I mean, it can be like, because I like that one Justice League. Well, both of the animated ones, honestly.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of like they just kind of go get a thing for Amanda Waller, kind of, and lose some heads on the way. You know what I mean? So like, yeah. But that is basically the most I got through, pretty much. It kind of like obviously sputters out kind of towards the end, but I like to think I had a decent like starting point.
Yeah, like knowing what I know about comics, all of that flows very well. All of that makes sense and sounds comic accurate. I think that's what should happen when you're making a cinematic universe.
Right?
And like, I don't even like really care that much about comic accuracy in general, because like the MCU is kind of barely comic accurate, but it's still very good.
Right.
With the characters they made in those movies, what they do and the sequence of events happens makes sense.
Right.
That's not the case with the DCU at all.
No, that's kind of the thing too. I think, and that's why I think people don't understand. It's like, I'm not ragging on it just because it's not comic accurate. I'm ragging on it because it's not comic accurate and you didn't make up for it by writing it very well.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing.
Like, not only is it annoying that Superman and Batman are both downers in that movie, Superman dies in the second movie. That shouldn't happen.
And if you're making it doesn't really make sense. Like, their motivations are terrible. They make no sense.
Yeah, it only works to have Superman die if you already have at least one Justice League established.
Right. And also, not the world doesn't hate him. I think that's the thing that bothered me the most. It was like Superman died and everyone just pretended to care all of a sudden. I'm like, you guys hated him like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And now, oh no, Superman died. I'm like granted, weird like that where people can just kind of randomly become heroes after being the worst person ever because they die. However, like, come on, that didn't really make any sense.
Yeah. But the way you laid it out, I think Makes sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces that need to be like kind of figured out, and maybe the movies can be switched around. But I think with like an actually, who's actually like a movie producer and stuff, like if I actually do this for a living, it'd probably be a lot better.
Yeah, that's again, that's when I started this, I literally said we're not filmmakers, we just like comics.
Right, that's all you can really do.
Yeah. Are there any other aspects of the world that you do want to kind of lay out before we?
That was pretty much it. I did kind of run into a hole with like trying to like not do too much Batman, but then I kind of forgot about things I didn't follow up on, like the League of Assassins and stuff. So I kind of wanted to bring that back, but I'd realized it'd been like probably like 5 or 10 years before that even follows up. So I'm like, maybe I need to follow that up sooner.
Or maybe that can be kind of followed up in the Titans show. I don't.
Kind of, but it's like I don't want Batman to be the main focus of the Titans show, because like the point of the Teen Titans is kind of being away from Batman, at least from Dick Grayson's perspective. But also, I think I'm gonna try to time balance this more, because like the way, like I don't want it to be like, I like how the MCU does it, where it's like the amount of time the movies are when they come out is kind of similar a lot of times, like how much time's actually gone on in real life. But at the same time, at this rate, Batman would be like, still on his first Robin, but for after like 15 years. We gotta speed it up, but also slow it down at the same time. It's kind of hard to do that with like, because it's like, unless we make, because like movie wise, you can't really have a Batman movie every year. You know what I mean? So like some things are just gonna have to happen off screen, but it's like deciding what happens off screen and what happens on it. But we'll see. We'll get there.
I wouldn't worry like too much about it.
Nah, I know. I'm just
overall, I'd say very, very good job.
Thank you.